on the run when it is he had means and knew who to call. But he runs, and the question I've got to ask, is he running from the warrant or running from his call? Because he knows he's supposed to free people, he just doesn't know how to do it. And the last time he tried to do it, he hurt somebody because he operated out of his flesh. There are a lot of us who really going to have a grave account because of the people who we hurt using the name of ministry. Because of the people who we wounded and we thought we had carte blanche because we had a title. So because now I've been elevated, I don't care about people's feelings. Because I've got a position, I can talk to people any kind of way. Because everybody regards me as the bishop, as the overseer. Because I'm the pastor, then I don't care how I treat people. I'll fire you with no notice. We've lost ministry because of personality. And so because he gets caught up in his flesh, he runs from his assignment. And finally in Exodus chapter 2, he's coming full circle. And notice what happens, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as he shows up for duty, God tells him one explicit directive: take your shoes off. Says him, take your shoes off. Hear me, because John, you cannot run in a wilderness barefoot. He said, I need you to take your shoes off so you know what it feels like to stand on something uncomfortable. There is nothing more trying than knowing I'm standing when I have no business doing it. Anybody who's anointed ought to exercise some humility, knowing that you should tip over at any moment. That I'm barely standing only because the saints don't know what I've been through. I can't hear nobody in the room. So he says, I need you to feel what this feels like when there's scorpions under your feet, when there's charred glass under your feet, when there are broken rocks under your feet. Stand on it, knowing that I called you to be uncomfortable. When there's a call on my life, it is not for me to be at ease, but I am called to be uncomfortable. And you'll notice this, great exegetes, that when he leaves the burning bush, God never tells him put his shoes back on. I need you to stay at a place of brokenness. That you remember what it felt like when you first got called. I don't want you to run around here with Ferragamos and Gucci loafers on and you forget what it felt like when you didn't have all this extra stuff. I need you to keep your feet on the ground and remember when you did this before you had a website, before you were on television, before people were even asking you to read scripture. Keep your feet on the ground. Said, I need you to stand when it's uncomfortable for you. When it's uncomfortable for you, and you did it. You did it, but it is not going to negate your call. And the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is we will not take ownership for our own failure. God, help me in here. You got to understand, Isaac, the Catholic Church between 2006 and 2009 had 296 cases of pedophilia. 296 cases in a 3-year time, went to court. Here it is. And we don't know any of the priest's name. Because the Catholic Church got something we as the black church has lost. The Catholic Church said, don't put the preacher up, put the church up. God. Oh my God. So we have become bigger than the church, where our picture is now bigger than the church name. So I no longer go to Empowerment Temple. I go to Jamal Bryant Church. I can't hear nobody in here. We have lost the principle and got caught in a personality. And because we forgot that it belongs to him, can I remind you here, upon this rock, I'll build my church. Did I tell you, take your shoes off and stand on that? If I stand on that, even when I mess up, you're not joining me because I'm going to let you down. Because I'm going to say something that's going to upset you. I'm going to say something that you're going to disagree with. But if you stand on the rock and look beyond what my own desires were, then finally you're going to get to a place where you can stand. And every now and again, the Lord will allow you to go through something barefoot. He'll make you go through something barefoot because you've been wearing heels. And your feet are too far off the ground. So he said, I got to make you go through something that will humble you. Just so you can feel that you are in the pulpit because you got pulled out of a pit. He said, yes, I don't want you, in the words of Biggie Small, I don't want you to get high on your own supply. I got to bring you back to basics. So I got to see what it is that you'll do when it is that you got no shoes on. There was a man who was blind, and Jesus spit on the ground and made mud cakes and put it on the man's face. And in that moment, he could have healed him. But Marvin, he said to him, walk through town until you get to the water, then wash it off. See, when you are in ministry, you really are not in ministry until you can walk with mud on your face. It's not till you can endure something that's embarrassing and humiliating, that people know your business and know your failure, but you still function in ministry in spite of the mud that's on your face. I know some of y'all don't have a testimony. Maybe I'll be chief amongst publicans that can say, you know what, I walked a couple of miles and I couldn't even believe God still used me with mud still in my face. But he said, I need you to walk. I ain't going to take nothing off of it. I need you to walk with it so that when you get to the other side, they'll know it wasn't you, but I was the one that took that off for you. Said, I need you to go through a process of walking through embarrassment and shame. And you really don't know the full extent of your assignment until you live through embarrassment. I know some of y'all don't like this. You really don't know how secure you are in God until you survive the scandal. God, I'm talking to people who ain't never been talked about. I'm talking about they can't understand how you live the way you do. So because they don't know, they'll make up something about you. I can't hear nobody. They look, you must be sleeping with somebody. I can't figure it out. So maybe it was the one you shook hands with. Maybe it's who you hugged. I don't know who it is, but somebody in here. So I got to make you go through something of embarrassment. He says, I don't know if I told you I'm talking about Moses. He says, a critical question. He says, Lord, how am I going to deliver them when I got a stammering tongue? A speech pathologist read or tell you that stuttering comes simply from the fact that your mind goes faster than your mouth. So you're thinking things that don't match what you're saying. So we got a lot of people in ministry whose mouth doesn't match their mind. God. So what I preach is not what I live. So I'm stuttering trying to get this out so I can talk about all the homosexuals, but I won't preach on adultery. I'm stuttering because I can talk about gambling, but I ain't going to tell you I got a little hooch under the kitchen sink. I'll preach on everybody else's issue, but my mind is not where my mouth is. So what happens is that my mouth is trying to configure because the balance is off. My speaking does not match my thinking. It was the Greek philosophers that stole from the Egyptian philosophers. I think, therefore I am. So it is, in fact, I am a human being only if I'm a human doing. reflective of my identity is how it is that I operate in the function of the cerebral, not in my actions. In other words, my thoughts ought to speak louder than my words. The old mothers used to say, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. Now, if in fact that is true, then maybe that will give us some greater understanding why the pastor no longer wants to intimate with the people. Because if you don't see me, you only know me when I'm in character. Oh my God, but you can't see me off stage because I might slip and you'll actually figure out I'm a human being. See, this is the season, in case you don't know it, God is kicking over pedestals. He says that maybe y'all forgot Baal ain't around, so let me deal with Bishop. I got too many people who are worshiping the pastor and forgot to worship me. So maybe if I pull the pastor down the size, the people will fall in line and figure out I can't come to church for him. I got to come for him because it ain't about anybody in the natural realm. Says, how am I going to deliver them when my mind don't match my mouth? How am I going to deliver them? Says, if you're going to deliver them, what's in your hand? Says, I got a stick, and I got great pulpiteers here, and you know by now that staff had on the side of it etched the history of the family, the lineage of all that had taken place in the family name and legacy. And watch what he does do it. God says to him, watch this, on that staff is your family history, your family legacy is Alex Haley on a stick. Roots is all right there. And watch what the Lord says to him. He says, everything about your legacy and your history, throw it down. Oh my God. Throw down your tradition. Oh my God. Throw down how it is you used to think. Not only that, I need you to throw down who you were before I called you. Because a lot of us brought our Old Testament into our New Testament. And we are just, watch this, we are not delivered. We are just sneakier at doing it. See, a lot of us, God cannot bless us to be wealthy because John Hurst Adams said, whoever you are rich, you are more of that who you were when you were poor. God help me. So a lot of people are arrogant and they don't have anything. So God can't bless them with overflowing increase. See, all finance does is give you more access to weakness. Yes. See, only broke people smoke crack. When I got real money, I'll get cocaine. I can't hear nobody in here. See, you got to figure out how far can God trust me is based off of how much he can give me. And if he can't give it to me, then he can't trust me. So he said, everything in your past, everything that you used to be, everything that you used to do, throw it down. And here's the critical part. The critical part of it, Ramsey, is he said, when you throw it down, check this out. I needed you to throw down your past because in your past is a snake. All right. Now, I'm just in Exodus. We just left Genesis chapter 3. The last time we saw a snake was in a garden, and he shows back up again on a mountainside. Here it is. And you understand that the intention of a snake is always to seduce somebody who has an assignment. But notice this, that snakes never attack something standing still. Snakes only attack something that is moving. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are fighting through your attack, through your weakness, it is just a sign you are going somewhere. If you were stagnant, the enemy would not be after you. But because he can see you getting ready to turn a corner, you getting ready to step into another dimension, you getting ready to go where nobody would have ever imagined before. That's when the snake attacks, when you're moving towards something. He says, throw it down. Watch it turn to a snake. But he then gives instructions on where to get it. He said, pick it up at the tail. Pick it up at the tail, because those of you who can hear my voice on this Friday afternoon, he said, pick it up by the tail because you have finally come to the end of a matter. oh my God, that this is your last time dealing with that same weakness, that same issue, that same proclivity, that same demonic deacon, that same bylaw. God said, you've come to the end of it today. But all I needed you to do was grab it. You kept acting like you were scared of snakes. So I had to make sure that you had the authority to put your hand on it. I know y'all are saved down here. I'm in the Bible Belt. But for those of y'all who weren't saved all along, you remember a movie called Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones was in fact portrayed by Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford had an imminent fear of snakes. But here it is. In order for him to get to the treasure, he had to go through the snakes first. He backed up and says, I don't want to deal with this. But he understood, I got to go through this in order to